the irrational desire of NFL sports media, even a lot of local Philadelphia sports media to constantly try and diminish and attack Jalen Hurts is absolutely wild. And I think this last week is a great example of it, especially with Josh Allen. As you know, I'm sure Buffalo Bills started 4-0, Philadelphia Eagles started 4-0. They both lost their last two games. The Bills lost to the New England Patriots, and what is probably not a play. The Patriots can very well make the playoffs. I think that can happen, but the Atlanta Falcons, maybe not so much. Okay, and so Josh Allen had a terrible game. Jalen Hurts actually did not have a bad game in a loss. He threw an interception. Yes, it was his first one of the season. It was not a great pass, and yes, he missed Devontae Smith. But overall, he did not have a bad game. He had a couple of bad throws. And to think all these great quarterbacks don't make bad throws is absolutely ridiculous. I've seen them all, whether it's Allen, Burrow, Jackson, Mahomes, overthrow wide open receivers down the field by 5, 10, 15 yards. Okay. But they only isolate and focus that on that when it's Jalen Hurts with one play. So let's talk about this with Josh Allen, because I want to just quick numbers on how the game this past week and the season numbers compared to Hurts, and then what that is for the in terms of the reaction from the media as well, right? So you've got Josh Allen. If we look at this, it's wild. 4-2, 68.5% completion percentage, 1397, 11 TDs, 4 interceptions. All right. Jalen Hurts, also 4-2, 68%, right? What did I say? Allen was 68 and a half, 1172, so a couple hundred yards lower, but that's over 6 games, right? That's not a ton of yardage difference. 8 TDs compared to Allen's 11, but also, again, only the one interception. That was his first interception, whereas Allen has four. I mean, in general, their numbers are pretty similar to one another for the season. And last week, of course, we had the bad loss to the Giants, but Jalen Hurts, yes, he missed the throw to Devontae Smith. He was also 24 33, 72.3%, 283 yards. Did throw the one pick, also had a TD as well, and a TD rushing, so 2 touchdowns, 8.6 yards per attempt, which would be his high for a season for his career. Twice he had eight, which is quite good. 8.6 is phenomenal. If people talk about that interception and the overthrow, yet if you extrapolated this to 17 games, it's like a monster season that would win an MVP award, which, by the way, when Jalen Hurts threw a lot of passes, he was second in MVP voting, right? People seem to forget that. They like to talk about how he's sort of this game manager, and he can't throw. When they have him throw, he's not going to do well. So let's go over to Josh Allen this past week and take a look at how Josh's numbers looked in a loss to Atlanta. 15 of 26, less than 58%, only 180 yards. And yes, he threw 2 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 interceptions. And oh, by the way, he fumbled twice. And oh, by the way, in the last 3 games, he's got 6 touchdown passes, but he also has 4 interceptions, and they've lost 2 of those games. So I don't know. You tell me. Seems like Jalen Hurts had a much better game last week than Josh Allen, and they have very similar numbers for the season. But now I want to play a couple of clips, because this is the difference. Okay, this is the wild. This is now, I know there's probably a lot of people have strong reactions to this guy, and I get it. But this is Howie Eskin. Here's his thoughts. Okay, this is wild. You got to listen to this.
I don't think the best quarterback on this football team is starting right now.
Wow.
I don't
Hey,
think
Xander.
Yeah, you heard that correctly. Howard Eskin is saying Tanner McBee is a better quarterback right now than Jalen Hurts.
I want this. Okay, who do you think is the best quarterback who should be starting for the Philadelphia Eagles? Howard Eskin.
I think Tanner McKee right now
Did I say
should be
McBee
the
again?
starter.
I always do that with him.
And, everybody blames the offensive coordinator. You can only do so much when the player can't execute those plays. You look at the breakdowns, and, Brian Baldinger does a good job. And he breaks it down, and you see so many guys that Jalen Hurts, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, that's not picking up open receivers. He's not going through his progressions. He's not Baker Mayfield in that regard. He's not.
He progresses off his number one option more than any quarterback in the NFL. It may not be more than any, but he's like top 3 or 4. So that's simply not true. And I've seen a lot of those. And Kurt Warner's been doing a fantastic job of breaking that down. We'll probably talk about some of the stuff he's talked about as well in another video.
Not Stafford in that regard. He's not Jared Goff in that regard. Cam Newton, who I think is an idiot. However, he said last week that he doesn't think Jalen Hurts is in the top 15. I'm not going to go that far. But all these people in Philadelphia, and people are going to jump.
All right, he starts to digress, but yeah, Cam Newton is he is an idiot. He's a Jalen Hurts hater. So is Howard Eskin. So is Spike Eskin. They get completely irrational and all up in their feels with regard to that. But did you notice they can't give you anything real, right? They talk about oh, it's not the offensive coordinator. It's just he's only calling certain plays because Jalen Hurts can't run other plays. And I'm curious as to how you know that, Howie. And again, if we go back, are we forgetting what Jalen Hurts has done? Are we forgetting that in 2022 he was second in MVP voting? You don't get that by running very limited offense because the quarterback can only do a few things. You don't get that by having a guy that you say can't complete a pass over 10 yards. Okay, you don't get second in MVP voting if you're a quarterback who is simply a game manager. We'll get to a little bit more on that in a second, but I wanted to get this because this is Colin Cowherd talking about Josh Allen, right? So you heard Howard Eskin. Jalen Hurts has a really good game, but he misses a throw and throws his first pick of the season, and he needs to be benched. He's not even the best QB on the team. Josh Allen has a terrible game.
I watch Buffalo after watching Kansas City the last couple of weeks. Buffalo's not competing with Kansas City. Detroit is a really good football team up and down the field. Buffalo's not stopping that. Turn the sound down and watch Buffalo. Take out Josh Allen. There's not enough weapons, and now they're losing to good teams. New England's a good team. New England feels like a playoff team. Lost at home. Atlanta may not be a playoff team. Almost had 500 yards. Michael Penix was totally comfortable. These windows, there was about a 2 or 3 year window with Buffalo. They were paying Josh, but they still had a pretty good secondary, and maybe it's closed. I watch.
So see, it's not Josh Allen. In Buffalo, when Josh Allen doesn't perform, it's not his fault. In Philadelphia, when Jalen Hurts does perform, it still is his fault. I mean, that is absolutely why. And you're getting this all across the media. All we hear about is how terrible Jalen Hurts is. And look, to be clear, and I think all of you Philly fans know this, Jalen Hurts is not perfect. It's not that we don't have it, but that's true of any quarterback. Does he have weaknesses he needs to work on? Absolutely. The thing is, we don't ever talk about them because we're too busy trying to defend him from all these idiots who think he couldn't win a 14-year-old Pop Warner game. Yeah, sometimes he holds on to the ball too long. Yeah, sometimes I think he doesn't make throws he should make because he's more worried about an interception. Yeah, sometimes there are times where I think he does miss an open receiver, although all quarterbacks do that. I also want to go back to you hear Howard Eskin, who he was comparing the Hurts to and putting him down. He talked about Mayfield, Stafford, and Goff. 3 guys who have. Oh no, I shouldn't say that. Stafford does have Super Bowl, but Goff and Baker Mayfield haven't even been there yet. Jalen Hurts has a Super Bowl MVP. And again, as a quarterback, you're not getting second in the league in MVP voting. You're not getting the Super Bowl MVP if you are basically a bystander as a game manager. That simply is not going to happen. But it is just absolutely wild, the difference in reaction to Jalen Hurts compared to a lot of these other quarterbacks in the league. He gets no respect. He gets no grace. One bad throw, and it just shows what an absolutely terrible quarterback he is. Other guys have terrible games, and it's everyone else's fault anyway. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for checking out this video. I really do appreciate it. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel while you're here. It'll help us keep growing as we get rolling it more into a Philly season. We'll see. Well, fingers crossed for the Minnesota game, and I'll talk to you in the next video.